the pillars of the earth. Some of you are like me. When I said that sentence, the others of you had your life flash before your eyes. I understand that. But some of you are like me, and you've heard Tom, Sam, and Z talk about pillars of the earth, not ad nauseum, that sounds rude, but a lot, as being a wonderful game. Well, the problem is, before this word was on the box, it was a different word on the box, and you could not find this game for under $150. But if anything's true, the Vassal's Law is true in that good games will get reprinted, even if they have to change companies and change rights and all that sort of stuff, a la Dune and Twilight Imperium Rex, Final Days of the Empire. Different story there, but anyway. Pillars of the Earth is a game I've been wanting to try for a long, long time, and finally I got my hands on a copy, but this is the Thames and Kosmos edition. Is there any difference? Not really. That's not important. That's not what we're going to be focusing on today. Today we're going to be focusing on this game as if you haven't heard of it before, as if you haven't played it before, from my perspective, on the game Pillars of the Earth. Also, I'm listening to Pillars of the Earth, the audiobook, not currently, just whenever I get a break. It's 30 discs long. It's super, super long, but I'm really enjoying the story so far, and it's cool because you kind of see some of this stuff tie in, but it doesn't have to do with the book. I mean, who could make a successful book, epic book, into a board game, right? Looking at you, Fantasy Flight, Game of Thrones, fantastic game. Pillars of the Earth also. The theme is not all about following these characters through it, it's about building the actual cathedral itself and what that takes to build the cathedral, all the items, all the workers, all the resources you need to do that. So let's take a look right now at Pillars of the Earth, how it plays, what it looks like, and all that sort of stuff right now. So what's this stuff here? What is this, for instance? Oh, nothing much. That's just the game timer. That's right, the game timer. Literally, this serves only the purpose to time the games out. It's pretty sweet. So there's 6 rounds in the game. Each one of these is a different piece. As you complete a round, this also serves as the first player marker of that round. Whoever has the piece to put at the end is the first player marker, is the first player of that round. So that cathedral gets built, hence the Pillars of the Earth. This is the cloth bag that you put your master builders in. That's right. This is actually not a worker placement game. It's a master builder placement game because the workers are in fact just a type of currency. What do you mean? Well, I'll talk about that a little bit more in gameplay, but the workers themselves are just currency. You spend them to get resources, which are denoted by these cubes here. You've got metal, stone, sand, wood, metal, stone, sand, wood. That's it, metal, stone, sand, and wood. And you use those to get victory points, which is one of my favorite aspects about this game. We'll talk about that in just a minute. This is the board here, nice, pretty board. Let's set this up right now and see how it looks on the table. So that's the board itself. Now it looks a little bit jumbly and muddled right now. It's hard to kind of see because of all the different action spaces. And I don't mean jumbly or muddled by the spaceman. It's just the art is there very pretty and it's very picturesque. So you kind of see things on the board that some of them don't quite matter, but it also tells you what the area is about. So there's 12, I believe 13 different spots on the board, or 14 different phases that you follow through in the game. Master builders are all put inside of this bag. This is set up for a 2-person game right now. Put your master builders all inside of this bag here. Should be 3, sorry. All 3 of them for each one. They go in the bag. We'll talk about what happens with that in a minute. Your regular little workers, you have 12 of these. You have 7 small ones and 1 big one, making 12 total. Again, these are more of a resource or a commodity than they are an actual worker. So we'll talk about what that does in a minute. So the setup starts like this. I'll kind of just give you an idea. There are correction cards in here for certain things that, well, not just corrections, but there are craftsman requirements, and we'll talk about that in a minute as well. You start with 3 craftsman cards each. The cards are where you get your victory points for the most part. The craftsman you start with are the woodworker. You can convert 2 wood goods up to 4 times a turn into 1 victory point. Stone is the same thing, 2 stone up to 4 times for 1 victory point. 3 sand up to 3 times for 1 victory point. So these are your starting cards. So your goal to get victory points is to get these types of resources, and then in that last phase, when you do the craftsman phase, you trade those in to get your victory points. So at the bottom here, you have a deck of craftsmen with different turns in it. So this is turn 1 out here already. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, right? 2 of them go here into the craftsman in the shiring area where you can hire them from the shiring castle. Sorry, not from shiring castle, but from the village. And then the other 7 cards that fill this bottom here, the other 2 workers go here, craftsmen go here. The other 7 cards that go out here are these resource cards. Sorry for that bump. Are these resource cards. Now, 2 of them won't get picked each round. The way these look though, the cost for this card is 2 of your workers gets you 2 sand. 8 of your workers gets you 3 stone. So that's what these are for. Now the phases start like this. You'll actually take your workers and everybody will go around and they'll get a chance to get the workers, or spend the workers they have on these cards down here. So this one's 6 for 3 wood, 7 for 4 sand, 3 for 2 wood, 5 for 2 stone, 9 for 4 wood, 4 for 3 wood, and 10 for 4 stone. You also take 2 of the advantage cards from the advantage deck, which the bottom 2 for the last turn are marked with these symbols, so make sure they get put in the bottom, and put them right here in Kingsbridge Castle. Then up there in the top is the event cards. We'll talk about what those do in just a minute. So once you've bought all your cards that you're going to use that turn, spent your workers, the rest of your workers that you have left will go to the wool mill. Each one that's at the wool mill gets a coin, or a coin. And the coins are done on this track down here, which is nice because you don't have to keep track of your resources. So let's just say that's a 5 worker. 5. When I get the income, it would go up to 5. You start on 20 here, and you start on 2 victory points as well. You can also buy the craftsmen that are down here. This is just a better woodworker and a better mortar mixer. These will continue to get better and better and better. If you replace any of these, because you can only have 5 of these cards, you start with 3. Let's just say that these were not the ones that replaced. Those 2 up there are different. If you replace them, if you don't have a mortar mixer, you can't score victory points from masons, which is a really good card. If you don't have a stone cutter, you can't buy resources at the market of stone. And if you have no woodworker, you can't, I'm sorry, I said that backwards. A woodworker, you can't purchase wood from there. Stone cutter, you can't sell stone there. So that's how those work. So once these are out, you can buy these again for the cost of the top. It's money, not workers. Once these are done, you'll start into the phase where you actually put your workers out. And the way this works, you'll notice there's a track here at the bottom. This is a neat mechanic. So your actual master builders are in here. You'll take the first one, whatever you pull out of the bag. It's not a good thing to be pulled first. So the red player has an option. They can pay 7 coins, because that's where the track starts, to place their worker first, or they can pass and put their worker down here. And this keeps happening. You pull out all the workers basically until someone decides to play by paying the cost. So let's just say this happens. Well, green decides now, okay, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and pay 4 coins. So they drop down to 16. This will continue to move down. The green would then get to place their worker first. Now let's just say green wants to go here and take this craftsman. They'll do that in a minute. Then red says, no, I don't want to pay 3, I don't want to pay 2, I don't want to pay 1, because they know 3 and 2 like that. They know that they're cheaper now, so they're going to go ahead and just wait anyway. They don't want to spend their money. So then it goes back to this order here on this track. Whoever's first will then get to place, whoever's second, such and such, and so on. I'll just put these out into some random places. We'll talk about what they actually do here in just a minute. So now you resolve everything in order, which is to me pretty cool. So you resolve everything in order based on the board here, because you'll notice each one has a little number. So first is the event card. The event card flips up. This says, crowds of volunteers come to help build the cathedral. The resource production of each resource card is increased by 1. So had you had the quarry card, you get 5 stone instead of just 4. So that happens all around. You then move to the archbishop seat, protection from the event, or 1 resource from the market. So if you didn't like, if you didn't know that the event was going to be good or bad, because you don't, unless you have a certain card that lets you see the future, you can go here and you're protected from that. And if it's a good thing, you just get a resource from the market instead. So that's 2. 3 is the wool mill. Everyone here will get money based on their workers there. So green will get 5. 4 goes to Kingsbridge. This person will get to take the advantage card they're under. So these are things like this. And it's got either a lightning bolt or a permanent symbol on the top. This is kind of a one-time. The wool market in Kingsbridge brings you new wealth. You immediately receive 8 gold. That just goes out. So red card gets 8 gold. Can't go past 30, just so we're clear. Then it goes to 5, which is Kingsbridge Priory. These are just victory points. So red would get 2 victory points, 1, 2. Then it goes to 6, 7, and 8. Now, you would normally take your workers that you had spent from buying these cards and just put them out there as a reminder. So let's say I had spent 5 at the quarry. This would actually just be sitting there. During 5, or 6, 7, and 8, that's when you'll actually collect your resources. So you'll put these in your area over here. 9 is down here, the King's Court. So taxes happen. Everybody has to pay that much in taxes, so $2. Whoever goes here first, the first person to go to this space, not only is exempt from tax, but they also get to steal. Everyone else just gets to be exempt from taxes. So the only way to get this kind of a resource is by going to the King's Court. 10 is shiring. You get the craftsman you're under. So now the mason, you normally would have to pay the cost. You do not pay the cost up there. You only pay it when it's down here. So 1 stone up to 2 times a turn into 1 victory point. So it makes it better for you to have stone than everybody else at that point. So that's 10. 11 is Showering Castle, so you'll have 2 extra workers for the next round to spend. 12 is Kingsbridge Research Market. It goes in player order. So the first person here, let's just say we had this kind of going here. First person will get to pick up to what they want to buy. Stone costs 4. Wood costs 3. Sand costs 2. Steel, if you had it to sell, you can only sell it, you can't buy it, costs you 5. Then it goes to, you keep doing that until that's empty or everybody passes. 13, craftsmen convert the resources into victory points. This is when you will actually take all the resources you have and start making victory points out of it. So I would spend 2 wood up to 4 times for victory points. So that would be 4 points there, 4 points here, and 3 points here if I had all those goods to trade in. Once you do that, the person who's here will get the next piece of the cathedral and they will be the starting player. That's how you play the game, period. Nothing changes other than that. You just do that over and over again and it's really, really, really tight, the mechanics like that. So you say, I don't get it, Brian. That seems like a pretty straightforward game. Why does everyone love this game so much? Well, the beautiful thing about Pillars of the Earth, now printed by Thames and Kosmos, you can get that now, is the fact that you are in control of your destiny. And that to me is the most beautiful part about the whole worker placement aspect. Sure, it has its traditional worker placement with a twist. The idea that you actually don't want to be drawn out of that bag first because it means you get last choice unless you pay. But the idea of having those cards that say, well, you, just you, no one else has this card for this craftsman, well, you can convert your resources for 4 points apiece, or 2 points apiece, or 3 points apiece, versus someone else struggling around trying to find, theirs is different, so they might have wood and yours better off with stone. Well, then it creates some good tension in the game because you go to that market and by turn 6, well, this person's going to need stone. So if I get to that market and buy all the stone up, they're going to be shut down. So you can block by being the first one in a spot, but it's a little bit strategic in that sense that you go, okay, I'm going to stop this person from getting the resources they need to complete their victory points. For instance, you would stop them in the forest or the worker phase at the very beginning by buying up all the cards, if you can afford it, that allow for stone or wood or whatever. Then you can do it again in the market phase. You can potentially shut someone down. You might not get that many points yourself that turn, but it stops someone from shooting up a lot of points. I know people can get 16, 17 points in one turn if they hold their resources off right and play them at the right time with the right craftsman. So that's what's beautiful. That to me is the best win for Pillars of the Earth, is the fact that yes, it's thematic, it's a beautiful board, excellent components. I mean, this is a Euro that has a giant chunky cathedral just because. Just has it just because. And I think that's really great. Also, it serves as, the first player marker, but let's just face it, everyone likes to look at that cathedral built in the middle of the table. It's really cool. And it really is thematic. You feel like you're working on this stuff to build the Pillars of the Earth cathedral. I love this game. It's one of my favorites now, having played it, just because of those little tiny tweaks to worker placement, the fact that you're in control of your destiny, the fact that you don't want to be pulled first out of that bag. It really doesn't matter as much about turn order there. In fact, if you're last in turn order, you might pay a little bit of money to get bumped up a little bit to go to that market first, or to go get protection first, or to get the steel first, whatever it is. There are different ways to kind of mitigate your bad luck in this game, and I really like that. I like that the cards do different things, the event cards as well as the advantage cards. Excellent, excellent game, Pillars of the Earth. It is now widely available, so all the people that have been saying, man, I wish I could get my hands on it for less than $150, you now can, and you should. This game is a win all the way. So that's it for this time with the Pillars of the Earth. I'm Brian Drake. Make sure to follow us here at The Latest Retro for more videos. If you want to know more about our magic, what we do with the illusions and all that stuff, check out BrianDrakeShow.com. See our tour dates. You can come see us when we're near you. So that's it for this time. Until next time, we will see you right here on the Dice Tower.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.